Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wimpy studio, and I have a video for you guys today that some of you might not like. So if you don't want to hear me talk about the negatives of Die from a Kid, you probably want to click off this video so then I can avoid hate comments. I probably might get those anyway, but I really just wanted to speak my opinion. So here's the thing. As most of you know, I review TV shows, which means I mainly focus on the facts of what happens. I briefly go into my opinion on things, but that's not often. Typically, I summarize what really happens because I don't want to set up a podcast, and most of the time I don't have someone to do it with anyways, which is why I don't give my opinion a lot of the times. So I'm going to start doing that, and that's going to be my 2022 goals, but I wanted to get something out that I've been really wanting to do ever since book 15, The Deep End, came out. And that is, I really wanted to rant about what happened from the first book to Big Shot. And everything in between and how this series went downhill. So again, if you don't want to hear me talk about the negatives, I suggest you click off this video. Let's start with the fact that, these books used to be so relatable. It used to be about Greg going through trials and troubles that were realistic, and you could connect with them, which means that at the end of the day, you could, you know, you just understood where he was coming from, and you were rooting for him, even though he did awful things. You loved his friendship with Rowley. You loved his connection with Roderick. Roderick Rules is the best book out of all of them. You cannot convince me otherwise. And how even those first 6 books were really great in the sense that, you know, you kind of root for Greg in a sense, but you also didn't, but you just enjoyed where it was because it's a middle school kid, and a lot of people, like, understand, and they understand where Greg's coming from. You experience the same trials and troubles that he did, and that's what made these books so good. Fast forward to book 15 and 16. What happened? Okay. I don't have book 15 here with me, so while I do that, I'm gonna look up a synopsis. But let me read this back summary for book 16. Greg, Heffley, and sports just don't mix. After his disastrous field day competition at school, Greg decides that when it comes to his athletic career, he's officially retired. But after his mom urges him to give sports one more chance, he reluctantly agrees to sign up for basketball. Tryouts are a mess, and Greg is sure he won't make the cut, but he unexpectedly lands a spot on one of the town's teams. As Greg and his new teammates start the season, their chances of winning even a single game look slim. But in sports, anything can happen. When everything is on the line and the ball is in Greg's hands, will he rise to the occasion or will he blow his big shot? What was that? Okay, I talked about the positives in my book review because there are some funny parts that happen in this book, like any book. In fact, this book was actually way better than The Deep End by far. However, the problem we have here is Rowley and Roderick are... Rowley's in this book for 1 page, Roderick maybe 2. They have no part in it whatsoever. And the mom has a decent amount of time in the book, and you could kind of understand... You kind of got where her purpose was, but when it comes to the other characters that we fell in love with at the beginning of the series, they're nowhere to be found. It's all Greg and these new characters. They spend way more time on these new characters that we don't care about and we don't know, that we just don't care. We don't care about them, so why are we spending time on them? I think it's because Jeff Kinney's run out of ideas, and I don't want to be mean to the author here. That's one of the things I decided not to do with this rant. However, what kind of ideas is he coming up with? What happened? We have The Deep End, which is the most unrealistic thing, even worse than The Long Haul when it comes to the Long Haul movie, and the book, I guess, when it comes to the unrealisticness. It's just so sad. Like, I just can't with it. Sorry, I'm looking up something really quick. But, yeah, the book felt like he really... It's almost like he needed, like, a gap in between something, so he decided to do something about sports, which the problem is... How do I say this? Which the problem is... This is hard to say because I don't want to offend any of my fans, but the problem is these books just aren't interesting anymore. You just can't relate to them. I mean, maybe Big Shot a little bit more than the Deep End because, you know, you can get somewhere with a sport if you really put in your effort. Here's the thing, Greg didn't put in any effort at all. His coach did everything for his mom did everything for the team. And then at the end, he's able to shoot a hoop. But where did that success come from? Did it just come from losing games and feeling bad? You actually have to see progress as you go along. We didn't see any progress. They lost every game until Greg shot that one hoop or basket or whatever. It's just wrong. What happened to Greg working? Look at the first book. Look at how hard Greg worked to get his friendship back with Riley and to make up with him. That showed that Greg Heffley can mature and he's, you know, he can actually be a good person. But then you cut to Big Shot and he doesn't. He progresses in this off screen or not during the book almost. And then the Deep End, they literally, there's no progression there because there's no story to be told. They're literally going on a cross-country camping trip, and there's no relevance to it at all, is the thing. There's no story to it. It's pretty much just so unrealistic, like, I don't know, like, they have to get on top of, like, an RV and go down a river, like a waterfall. These things don't happen. What happened to the first book where every single thing was relatable and something that could happen in middle school? And then you cut to the Deep End. And the problem with the Deep End is that there's no story to be told, like I said. Big Shot had at least a little bit, which, I mean, still. But I just think the main problem with these books hold is there's no development with the characters in it. Like, everything's so unrealistic. Like Greg even being on a basketball team to begin with. Or, what was it? Like Greg even being on a basketball team to begin with, or the whole cross-country camping trip. I just think Jeff Kinney wants interesting and crazy ideas that he just goes for it, but it just doesn't work here. And some stuff, you can go with those crazy ideas and you just are along for the ride. I know that's how some fans feel, but if we're looking at it from like a practical standpoint, which is where I'm trying to come from here, it's just trash. Wimpy Kid is trash at this point, and I'm sorry to say that, and I know I just offended a lot of fans right now with that sentence, but I'm not going to hold back any longer. I just can't. It's not, they're not vibing with me anymore, and I'm not going to say I'm going to stop reading them because, you know, this is part of my childhood. I've been reading them ever since the year that book 7 came out. It was like 2012 or 2013 when I got my first Wimpy Kid book, and it was this one. And then I got Hard Luck or something, and then I just kind of went back and forth trying to catch up. And then, so pretty much ever since The Long Call came out, I've been reading them ever since, getting them every year. And that is an accomplishment, and for those first few times I was intrigued by it, and then something happened. I think it was once The Getaway came that I started feeling things were way too out of hand and the stories were lame. And I know that some of you guys are still going to read them, and that's perfectly fine because you can. They just don't vibe with me anymore. The stories just aren't realistic. The last good book that there was probably Double Down, which had some good moments in it, I gotta say. And Wrecking Ball had some good moments too. I gotta say, Wrecking Ball I actually personally enjoyed because we actually saw Greg and Rally, and, you know, we saw their friendship there, and I personally liked that. The renovation stuff got too out of hand, of course, but that's the last book. Double Down and Wrecking Ball are the last few books that I actually saw there being some good story content there. These last two were awful, I gotta say that. Big Shot was a little bit better than the Deep End, but they're both just bad at storytelling because there's no story to be told. We got a cross-country camping trip, and we got a basketball team. Both things that we know don't amount to anything. So suddenly, at the end of the Big Shot, we're supposed to think Greg has progressed and is able to shoot one now? So does this mean he's an epic basketball player? Because that's what they're trying to say here. No, he didn't put in any effort. It was all his mom, it was all the coach, it was all that one player, that one star player. And you're supposed to feel for Greg at the end? No, that's not how it works. And I know I'm overreacting, but it's time I really come out and say that these books, they're just not good anymore. And I don't even know. It's tough. Those first 6 were great. Okay, I gotta say, these two, hang on, let me grab them. These two are awesome. Great books, especially Roderick Rules. And pretty much those first 6, besides maybe The Ugly Truth, were pretty spot on with the themes they were trying to tell. And then again, things like The Long Call was one of my personal favorites, the book. And then, yeah, Double Down and Wrecking Ball that still has some good themes in it. But besides those, they're just all unfortunately written. And it's really sad because I feel like this series had so much potential at the beginning to be great. And here's the thing, they're great for people who are younger. Like, this is meant for middle schoolers. I'm in high school now, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm just not vibing with this anymore. So, if you agree with me at all, please comment down below, because I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this series has potential to go back up, or do you think it's just destined to doom? Because I gotta say, right now, these books they're just trash, they're garbage, and they don't deserve what used to be the first book. Greg Heffley, a relatable kid. He doesn't deserve to be shooting hoops and suddenly putting in effort. And I'm not saying that because I think Greg Heffley is like a good character. I mean, I used to think that earlier on than now more, but it's just how he writes it. It's just not, it's not fluent. It doesn't go together. He focuses now too much on dramatic effect to get us hooked. And maybe if it was different and it was just meant to be all action, I would like it more. Action and adventure. That was what The Deep End was. But I want to see Greg Heffley mature and develop as a character like he did in the first book. I want to see that because otherwise there's no point in reading these except for a few laughs. And I'm just not interested in that anymore. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry again for ranting because I don't want to get into the habit of ranting. I really don't. However, I got a Riverdale video coming out soon that's, I got it already in the works, and it's not gonna be great for any Riverdale fans. Although Riverdale's a show that you can actually talk trash on, so, you know, I feel like it's more of an acceptance. I feel like I might lose some subscribers from this, but here's the good news. I feel confident about what I'm saying, and that's one of my goals going into 2022, is to feel like I can speak my opinion and not just lie to you guys, because I feel like that's what I've been doing for the past few Wimpy Kid books. So, comment down below if you agree with me that they need to go back to this, because this is great. This is great. You gotta agree with me. These books were great. What happened, I don't know, but I think it's time to get off of here. A lot of new fun videos. Cobra Kai Season 4, yes. I'll be doing something about that. It's going to be big and epic. So anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching my studio. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me down below what you think about this. And bye, everyone.